the live Pinnacle promo in the ring with girls and decorations and a podium and MJF with a crown because he's the new demo god. And I found out shit I didn't know. Sean Spears is a Canadian. I thought he was a comedian. Tully Blanchard, actually, once they let Tully speak, he won't shut up. And I enjoyed this. It was even better than because MJF always does a pretty good promo, obviously. And none of the rest of them I'm really, can say that about. But Tully, they actually let him go this day, gave him all gold watches. I wish he'd have retired a few of them, but no, but anyway, so Tully gets the promo done and they're crowing and they're celebrating. They have 1 week that they've had heat. And remember, of course, the swirly and all that stuff. So they actually won the first match. They have heat for a week. And then the horns honk and here comes the dinner circle pulling in. And was that a Tonka truck? What kind of vehicle was that? Was that an all-terrain vehicle or something pulling the trailer that they had the tank on? The water tank, I mean.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but how many cars have shown up on Dynamite just honking the horn?
Well, yeah, and whenever you hear a horn honk, you know an accident's about to take place.
Didn't it just happen 2 weeks ago? Moxley was honking the horn.
Yeah.
At the Elite when they were in the trailer that he rammed into, and then they were all gone mysteriously.
So out comes 3/5 of the dinner circle. You've got Ortiz, you got Sammy, and you got Hager. And Jericho was hiding behind the truck, which we could actually see at one point through the truck when he was hiding behind it. We could see through the window. And MJF won't agree to a rematch. So what do you do when the heel that's just won the first match won't agree to a rematch? You redo not one, but 2 old WWF angles. And they shot him with a garden hose of the bubbly. Tony Schiavone loved it because I guarantee you he didn't see either one of the first 2. This was so bad. It's cosplay wrestling. It's a cover band. It's an homage at this point. They did the Bruno and Zbyszko angle. They do dusty promos. They do they try to do this fucking finish or that fucking finish from history. And they don't get it. And now, instead of Steve Austin coming out with in a legitimate fucking truck that he actually, was that the one he moved? No, he ran into the ring with the Zamboni and moved the ring. But a legitimate fucking truck into a major fucking NBA arena with a legitimate fire hose with pressure of same. Or even with Kurt Angle with that milk truck where they had a fire hose that. And if you go back and look at I think AEW Botches did a split screen. Austin had the fire hose at the ring apron, shooting it under the bottom rope, hitting people right, knocking them fucking down. Angle with the milk, it was white, it was flying everywhere, and they're slipping. Every single one of these heels that were allowed to get heat for one fucking brief week, then had to put over, be scared of, take bumps for, and slip around in a guy 30 feet from the ring with a garden hose. And they're just bumping and flying and slipping for water that's barely reaching them. And the only way you could tell MJF was wet is because his pink suit got darker. Was I just imagining that I saw a guy with a garden hose from 30 feet shooting water on grown men that were taking bumps for it because that's the way that the WWF did it 25 years ago with Austin?
I don't know if I would say garden hose, but it was a hose.
Was there enough pressure that would have knocked a man down at 10 feet, much less 30?
No.
How about 5 feet?
And it's impossible for anyone to watch that with knowledge of the previous time, specifically Austin more than Angle. It's impossible for anyone to watch that and not immediately think, oh, they're copying the Steve Austin beer truck angle.
It's an homage. It's a cover band. It's, what did we think were cool when we were marks? Or, I can't say that because that would indicate that they're no longer marks. When we were younger marks? What did we think was cool? Let's copy that. Except we don't really have the personality for it, and we don't understand why they did it to begin with, and we're not going to make it look as good, but everybody will know what we're copying.
So this is now twice in a year that there's been a big liquid angle, because, of course, Orange Cassidy dropped orange juice all over the inner circle, and now they are spraying bubbly on this other group. And as we said, multiple interviews interrupted by a car, multiple cars just showing up in the middle of the show and people getting out and walking right to the ring.
Oh, and the best part is, because of the humiliation of being squirted by that garden hose that they could have gotten out of the way of by just walking over to the other side of the ring and jumping down on the floor, and they would have been fine, MJF agreed to face them, but it must be in a... We need a drum roll sound effect. I just called this last week in a stadium stampede. Because I said, now the problem that they've gotten themselves in, when they booked themselves into a situation where the heels had to win the ultimate blow-off match, then how do you follow that for the babyfaces to win? What, another stadium stampede? So now they're going to follow attempted murder with sketch comedy. And poor MJF has to say, well, it's not going to be any of the comedy stuff like you guys did. What? No. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be 10 guys having a fight on a football field. You can't make that serious for 30 minutes that it's going to last, especially with the contrived, ridiculous setup stunts they're going to do. And you can't tell me that 10 of these guys, led by, the master over the hill gang, demo god himself, Benny Hill, Jericho, are going to play this straight. So they got heat on this new heel group after they got heat on them in the original TV segment that they appeared in. They took every single bit of it off and more the following week when they flushed them all down the toilet, literally. Then they cut promos for the blood and guts match where the fucking baby faces promised they were going to kick even more shit out of the heels, which they did, except the heels managed to win the match, even though the finish was a visual embarrassment and people laughed at it. And they got to run with that heat for 7 days until they were garden hosed like two dogs fucking on the side of the road. And now in 2 weeks, we got to look at football field fuckery number 2, where they will comedically beat these heels again. And I don't know why they don't just piss in their mouths while they're down there. Oh, and we know that they're gonna lose because the dinner circle's got to break up if they lose. So the Pinnacle is doomed.
So now it's been, it was just on this show, another team that had to break up if they lost a match. Same stipulation, a few segments later. And again, War Games set up the football field match. Think about that. War Games was a setup to this.